Okay, so in this video, we're going to talk about restoring BIG IP DNS configurations. All right, we're on objective 402, and we're going to break this up into two parts: restore BIG IP DNS RMA unit / restore master encryption key, and new BIG IP DNS versus existing BIG IP DNS. All right, so Objective 402 states to identify the prerequisites and procedure for BIG IP DNS configuration restoration. Some examples: recognize the special requirements for restoring configuration data to a BIG IP DNS RMA unit. Compare configuration objects between a new BIG IP DNS and existing sync group member. And then determine when and how to restore the master encryption keys for TSIG and DNSSEC. Okay, first let's talk about restoring the BIG IP DNS RMA unit, and if it uses DNSSEC, restoring the functionality for that. So let's say the DNS needs to be RMA'd for some reason. You received a brand new box that you need to now replace with the existing, and you have the UCS file from the previous box. The first thing we want to do is prevent a DNS sync to other group members when we bring up the RMA unit, because we could potentially wipe out some of the configuration on the other DNS sync group members. The first thing we want to do is physically disconnect the new DNS TMM ports. This is the new RMA unit, and we leave the management port connected. So this allows us to still get to the GUI or SSH, and then we can run the TMSH load our UCS file. And we want to log into the GUI and clear the DNS synchronize checkbox. Then we can reconnect the TMM ports and then do the GTM add to an existing target GTM self IP. Okay? If you have DNSSEC on top of that, or you have used DNSSEC in the previous configuration, we'll need some additional steps. You can insert these steps into right about here for the normal process. Okay, so verifying the DNSSEC operation, we can log into an existing DNSSEC BIG IP sync member. This is a DNS box that has DNSSEC. Run the F5 MKU-K to get the master key value, and then log into our new RMA unit and install that key using the F5 MKU-R command. Then we load the UCS file, reboot the platform, and then we can validate the DNSSEC operation using a dig to that specific listener. Now, it's important to note that you want to install the key before you do the UCS. You're going to potentially run into configuration issues. And if there is a problem with loading the configuration, MCPD, the daemon, will fail to load properly, and you might need to clear some of the contents out of the configuration files to get it to load. And this includes things like being able to decrypt a $M hashed password. Okay, so doing this, the loading this DNSSEC allows you to validate the TSIG and DNSSEC keys that are preserved across all members of a DNS sync group, and they're used for successful decryption of DNSSEC keys. Okay, so after you have either performed a GTM add and validated DNSSEC operation, if you had DNSSEC operation included, you must run the BIG IP add utility. This is used to exchange the certificates from the restored DNS device, because the UCS does not include the device DNS certain key in the UCS archive by default. So we will need to do a BIG IP add on the new RMA unit and then restart the GTMD and Big3D service on the RMA unit. Okay, so the objective talks about comparing configuration objects between a new BIG IP DNS and an existing sync group member. So I think the main item they might be getting at is the configuration objects in the GSLB server list. And let's say you do an existing or a new Big IP DNS after it's been restored via a previous UCS might look like this. So it has the green available locally, but the rest of the virtual servers or LTM objects are unknown and blue. So in this case, we would need to do a Big IP add utility, most likely to exchange the certificate information for iQuery to work successfully. Okay, we got through this video pretty quickly on restoring Big IP DNS configurations, and we talked about restoring the RMA unit and restoring the master encryption key, and we also compared what it may look like for a new Big IP DNS versus an existing Big IP DNS. Okay, so up next in Objective 403, we're going to talk about SNMP polling. I will see you in the next one.